It's time for some Amiga goodness, as I've decided there's not enough content about the Amiga on YouTube. Back last summer, I bought an Amiga 600 bundle with 3,200 games loaded onto an SD card. You can hear my dog trying to get through the door now. Thank you, Molly. Come and say hi. She says no. With 3,200 games loaded onto an SD card, long story short, it took me 3 episodes to kind of take it apart. I bought a GoTech drive from Amiga Passion, we're formerly Amiga Passion, now Retro Passion, and I wanted to utilise the GoTech drive to play my 3,200 games. That's as much as I'm going to say, because I think you should go and watch the 3 episodes that I did last summer about the Amiga 600. Now today I'm going to talk about some of my personal memories about the Amiga days, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what I'm doing with this 600 and what my plans are for the 500. So if you are new here and you love all things retro or any gaming or any geekiness whatsoever, you're in the right place. Make sure you guys thump that subscribe button for me, and if you are kind enough and you love dogs, because mine is barking, share this content, share this episode to your socials using hashtag Team24. I would massively appreciate it. You'd really be helping me out. Let's get into it. So, a little bit about my Amiga. You should be able to see it in the shot right here. So I have a 600 set up here. This is customized with the OLED drive, the OLED display on the front, to be able to cycle through the different games that are on the little SD card, little USB, which goes into the GoTech drive, which is fitted internally. Again, shout out to Retro Passion for fitting that for me. I bought all the stuff from him, and he kindly paid him to kind of fit it. Really good job. I love this thing. I love it, love it, love it, love it. And it wasn't until last summer when I bought my Amiga 500 bundle that I realised you can actually play with a Sega Mega Drive pad. But as I started to do that with my 500, you guys were like, no, be careful, you can blow things on the board, you shouldn't be doing that, even though it worked fine. So it was a subscriber of mine, Patrick, that gave me this component here that actually goes into the Amiga, into port number 2, so where you would put your controller typically, and then you have a Mega Drive port on this side, so you can literally put your Mega Drive controller or your Mega Drive joystick, whatever you want to do. I find it easier to play my Amiga 600 currently with a Sega Mega Drive peripheral. So that's kind of how I'm currently playing. It's set up on my LG flat screen television. I wish I could have an old Amiga monitor like back in the day, but unfortunately I don't have room. So I utilise this for about between 500 and 600 games on my GoTech currently, all of the classics, many of which I played as a little girl, as I'm going to talk to you about in this episode. So you heard me earlier in the episode that I bought an Amiga 500 bundle a couple of years ago now, maybe even 3 years, and unfortunately the 500 is in storage. It is unmodded, so I'm going to be planning on using my Amiga 500. I'd like to when I move, get some additional space and have a proper 90s Amiga kind of corner, desk, some kind of setup that we all loved and I prayed for as a kid. I would have loved an Amiga setup as a kid, but unfortunately I had to play Amigas through friends. So the Amiga 500 is in storage. No, I'm not selling it because I do get asked about it. It's quite surprisingly, actually. So that's the plan for that. It's in storage, it's safe. I have lots of different games. I do have my unboxed games behind the camera here in one of the classic Amiga containers, the little lockable ones that you do often see around at car boots and things now. But the 600 I will use with my GoTech. Now, my personal memories from the Amiga, we're bringing out that nostalgia here. So I never heard of a home computer as such until about 1992, when we moved to a town. We lived on the street and there were 2 twins, Matt and Richard. You've heard me talk about my friends Matt and Richard many a times, and they had consoles and home computers as they kind of came out. So it was my first experience of going round to their house, as you did as kids, and you'd go up into the bedroom and you'd maybe, sometimes we'd play it on an NES, but with Matt and Richard, they had a massive Amiga 500 set up, And I was absolutely mesmerized by this machine, by this expensive looking keyboard hooked up to a monitor with like floppy disks strewn all over the desk and the drawers and the floor. I can visualize it as if it was like yesterday. And I was absolutely mesmerized because these things cost a lot of money back in the day. And I never had one in my home. I yearned for one, but unfortunately I never had one. So I started to kind of play things like, you know, your classic titles, like there was James Pond I remember playing, and Street Fighter 2 I remember having so many different discs and getting these kind of pop-ups on the screen saying, you know, change to disc 4 and then back to 3 and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, whoa, this is a whole new way of gaming, because I came from playing the Atari at my cousin's, and then my cousin got an NES, and then my little brother got an NES, and I eventually got into the Super Nintendo kind of around, you know, from 92 onwards. There was some kind of period, I think it might be 93, I think I got a Super Nintendo, but nonetheless, this was like, this opened up my world. This opened up my 90s, if you would. Now, as we kind of like continued in the Amiga period, I remember asking my friend Richard one day, unfortunately he's passed away now, God bless his soul, beautiful guy, loved him, still do. He had lots of floppy disks with just like biro writing on them, and I remember saying to him, like, I was really naive, I was like, why have this got writing on Richard? And he was like, we copy them. And then that opened up this like floor for me to kind of learn more about how my friends copied Amiga floppy disks, so games essentially. And because it was the first I'd ever heard of it. Like I said, we didn't have this in my house, so I relied on, we didn't have internet obviously, it was back in the early 90s. Couldn't really afford magazines, maybe one every 6 months or something, so my information predominantly came from my friends who had all the consoles and all of the home computers. So it was kind of like I was watching Richard do that, and these games, I was like, wow, you can get games for free. You know, I was like really like naive back in the day. And then when I was at Richard and Matt's, we would, you know, we've got other friends, like you've heard me mention Gareth and Damien, shout out to you guys, love you guys. They also had an Amiga setup, and very rarely when we went in their house, I don't remember playing any specific games, but I do remember seeing the Amiga in their bedroom, and it was really cool. And I was just freaking, I wanted one so bad, like so bad. And now I've got a 6 and a 5. I should really get a 1200, but I don't have the space. But my predominant memories come from Rich and Matt and playing those. Now there was also this really cool shop in my town called Gordon Harwood's. Again, I've mentioned this previously. And Gordon Harwood's didn't really specialise in consoles, it was really about home computers. So at the time we were at the back end of the Spectrum era, they had a lot of Spectrum stuff in for sale, and PCs as they were kind of booming, you know, gaming PCs as we kind of coming into the Doom era, and a lot of Amiga stuff as well. So we used to kind of spend many school holidays going into Gordon Harwood's. I mean, I'm 37 now, so I would have been like 92, so I'd have been like, you know, fucking coming up to 10 years old, basically. Standing in there, barely being able to kind of see the monitors, but catching enough of a glimpse to be like, I love this world, I love gaming. And you know, you're seeing like the big men kind of walking in, just like trying to, you know, try out these PCs and these Amigas, and then buying like a ZX Spectrum cassette for £2 in a sale, and thinking, wow, I want to do this. Like, this is amazing, being embroiled in this. And I think the staff members actually ended up getting so fed up with us because we'd spend day after day after day, we'd be in there all day, because that is how I consumed information about computers and video games and eventually consoles. So it was a fun time, it was really awesome, and it's a time that I do really flipping miss, as many of you do. What I want to know is, what are some of your most prominent Amiga specific memories? Or maybe you didn't have an Amiga and you had a Commodore 64, or you bypassed the Amiga altogether. So let's stick it to kind of home computers and rather than consoles. Share your memories in the comment section below. So I want to talk for a minute about Lotus Turbo Challenge 3, as it's one of my personal favourites on the Amiga. And I've mentioned Richard and Matt. They had an older brother called John. Now, older brothers, older sisters back then were super darn cool. And I do believe John had, I don't remember which Amiga it was, but he had an Amiga. And I was kind of like, you know, sneaking past John's room and kind of looking at him playing on this Amiga. And he was playing, didn't know it at the time, but Lotus Turbo Challenge 3. Somehow I kind of like in the room just kind of watching and, you know, peering in on this gameplay, and he let me have a go. And I remember my dad and even Molly's just saying, "Hi guys, I love the Amiga too, subscribe to my mum's channel." So I managed to play Lotus Turbo Challenge 3, and I knew that my dad and my stepmom I think we were like going on a trip to Skegness, and I remember them like knocking on the door, is Gemma there? And I remember thinking, I want to go downstairs. I want to beat this track on Lotus Turbo Challenge 3 before I go anywhere. And I remember that feeling. I can even see like my friend's window to the left of me, and it was cracked and it had tape on it. Like, it's such a vivid memory. And in the end, I didn't end up beating the track. I think I got my ass dragged downstairs, maybe not literally, you know, metaphorically speaking, and we ended up going and, you know, getting in my dad's car, driving away, and me being gutted that I didn't beat that track rather, in Lotus Turbo Challenge 3. But it's memories like that that I live for. It's memories like that that motivate me to keep on collecting video games. It's memories like that that make me motivated to put out content on this channel. And that's why I think we've got to keep it alive. We've got to keep memories from the 90s alive. So I'll be doing more of these episodes. If you like it, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts, feedback, everything. I'm looking forward to reading your comments. And like I said, please hit that subscribe button and make sure you share, because it does really help a channel like mine out. I hope you've enjoyed listening to some of my personal memories, taking a little look at my personal Amiga 600 setup. I've been playing lots of cool stuff at the minute, a bit of flashback, obviously Lotus Turbo Challenge 3, cannon fodder. I'm very much into the more mainstream Amiga titles because I didn't really hear about the more quirky ones when I was growing up, but luckily now I can explore them and enjoy them fresh in 2021. I hope you enjoyed it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. My name is Gemma, take care. Au revoir. I need a few seconds of your time to tell you about channel memberships. If you guys want to become a channel member, click join from the main page or the second link in the description. There are 3 tiers, all with different perks for you if you want to become a team member. Thanks for your time. Let's continue with the video.